TOA community, welcome back everybody. Robert Linkul, trainingtheolderadult.com. I hope you're all doing well. I wanted to take a little bit of time here to discuss this, as over the last few weeks, I have shown you many different research articles on high velocity resistance training, how this applies specific to older adults, how the benefits can increase bone density, increase muscle mass, increase power production, increase overall strength, reduce fall risk, etc. So when you know all that, what do you do with it now? And so I wanted to give you something that's actionable. And I found this other really good article. Actually, one of my colleagues and friends, Colleen, sent this to me. Found it in the New York Times. It's basically a 30-second power test, which is about the best test that you can do at home to test your power without any equipment. And it'll give you an idea of how powerful you are. It's not the greatest test. We don't have any force plates. We don't have any dynamometers. We don't have anything that would actually give you a statistical numbered input, output in this case, something you would record and then train for 12 weeks and then re-report, except this test we can do, okay? And it's safe. We do it all the time. Sit down, we stand up. You're gonna give yourself 30 seconds on a timer, perform a number, you have the number, then we'll train for a while and then you'll retest and see how we do. The article itself simply just goes into what the sit to stand test is and what we're testing for. So Amanda Loudon, let's see, 7 years author, she talks about staying healthier as you get older. You wanna mix in cardio, strength, and balance training. Real quick on balance, and I think I've discussed this in other videos, the whole like I stand on one foot when I'm brushing my teeth thing, all that does is get you good at that particular skill. It doesn't have a transferable ability whatsoever to, I'm not gonna fall down when I trip over the dog carrying the groceries, okay? So that type of fall prevention is done with loaded locomotion and practice and stability and splitting your feet and lunges and step ups and step downs and get ups and carries and hinges and lifting, okay, and getting your body strong and all these different movement patterns and planes. With that being said, to manipulate any of those positions semi-quickly, right, then we're starting to introduce the idea of power, which when we fall, we don't fall in slow motion and we don't fall in regular motion, we fall in fast forward speed, like we fall quickly. So you've got to be able to react and move your body quickly. And in many cases, people will hurt themselves further trying to rescue the fall. And even in the act of rescuing the fall, not fall down, but still rip bone off, or rip muscle off of bone, or tear cartilage, or tear a ligament in the act of doing so, because they don't move their bodies fast ever. I just saw a clip on Instagram from Dre. Every goddamn Dre, I think is his Instagram. Great, super strong, awesome dude. You've all probably seen him. Always has his shirt off, working with kettlebells, strong as you know what, and does tons of split squat work and such, and is just exceptionally strong. But anyhow, he put up a clip talking about how the average individual after age 30 will never sprint full speed again in their life, ever again, after age 30. And then, you know, our level of comfortability with never really lifting anything near a maximal load, not exposing our bodies to anything excessively hot or excessively cold, so plunges or saunas, etc. Like very few things in life to make us uncomfortable, thus able to grow and or respond as needed. So kind of keep that in mind. Like, we're not going to be able to change our bodies unless you put yourself through something that's a little bit uncomfortable. And this style of training is exactly the same thing you would regularly do in the weight room. There's just one portion of it that you're going to do a little bit faster, thus the velocity component that'll make you, make your body capable of moving faster. So when the time comes that you need it, you can do it. Okay, so we'll dive into that a little bit further. They give an example. This lady, Beverly, 71, lives in Kentucky, was struggling to pick up 25-pound bags of food, etc. Use it or lose it, starts to strength train, You lose 1 to 3% annually after the age of 55. That's a number I haven't seen a whole lot of. And let's see, that's the exact same one. Am I going the wrong direction? Here we go. Realizing we're losing power. Okay, so talking to the doctor. Doctor says, as you start aging here, you start losing power. So what happens is we get into this mindset of, I'm not as strong as I used to be. I'm old, so I need to move slower and be more cautious, right? So by not practicing moving semi-quickly or semi-explosively or moving anything of excessive load, okay? Meaning whatever you're comfortable just moving around. Anything more than that, overload, is what we're always preaching here. You are basically reducing your ability. You've done yourself a disservice because you've reduced your ability to do the things that you could do when you were 30 because you don't practice them anymore into your 40s. Into your 40s, into your 50s, your 50s into your 60s. If those continue to step down, think about where you end up at 70. You're just not good or strong or dynamic or explosive or balanced or stable or coordinated or any of those things across the board. And what does resistance training and a healthy lifestyle with hydration and proper food and sleep and all that, what does all of that carry as the number one priority? Cognition. Training your brain. All of this helps improve your cognition. Every research study and every little bit of fitness, everything that stems back, if you funnel it all the way down to any study ever done, one of the greatest findings of that is it'll make your body blank, stronger, faster, dynamic, and improve your cognition. Because any type of outside stimulus to the body increases blood flow. It might not say that in the article is my point, but there's another article that says by doing that, you're improving your cognition, right? Getting freshly oxygenated blood flow to your brain on a regular basis via a forced heart rate is going to improve your brain quality and brain functionality, fight off any age-related diseases, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, etc., as best we can, okay? I'm not saying if you exercise, you'll never get sick. I'm just saying that it helps improve quality of life, your entire physical body, but also your mind. So keep that in mind, okay? We're doing this and training and performing all this to improve our overall body and health, etc. But don't forget, it's also improving your brain, okay? Your memory, your cognition, your ability to process information, find words, so you don't get stuck with that when you're sitting there going 70 and you're like, the word's right there, I just can't. Or you're calling somebody Steve, Robert, Bill, you just can't find. We've all done that, right? That's all block in our cognition. Now, I'm not going to step out and say that I know anything about this. I just know that via the research, okay, it proves this. Okay. So we want to take action. We know the research says this is good training. Where do we start? Let's start by taking the sit-to-stand test. So you take your stopwatch, okay? And the way that I like to do it is a countdown. So you can hear it beep or whatnot, because you're going to be counting how many reps you do. You don't want to be going back and forth between your number count and the watch to see if you get to 30. Just set a timer for 30 seconds or have someone time you, okay? You're going to start standing and we say go. And you sit down, completely unload, stand back up. Completely unload means what? Let the chair or the bench that you're sitting to take your weight and then re-engage and stand up. What does stand up mean? Completely vertical. Lock out your knees, lock out your hips, okay? So you sit down, you stand up, you sit down, you stand up. You do that for 30 seconds. On average, men over 65 should be able to do 12 or more. If you can't do 12 or more, there's a concern that you are at risk for falls because you have a lack of power, okay? Now, why is that? Simply trying to accelerate your body weight up, get it back down, unload, get it back up. There's a small amount of power related to that every single time. But because you have this short little window of 30 seconds, you're trying to move that body faster to get as many reps as you can. So you're doing little power tests with each one. Right around 30 seconds is where that anaerobic to aerobic window is, where we're kind of getting out of that. The fast twitch is starting to exhaust and the slow twitch is going to start to take over. So the fast twitch, your type 2 fibers, those are the fibers that turn over quicker, right? Think like slingshot. That's your type 2 fibers. But what's your type 1 fiber? That's your more endurance fiber. So it can handle lower velocity and many, many more times and repetition under lesser stress. So you got about a 30-second window on average where I'm super strong, super powerful, I can crank, and then my performance starts to decline drastically. But if I lower that intensity and then to say, can I do this for a really long period of time? Steady state cardio or LSD, long, slow distance, right? I can run at 60% for an hour and a half, but I could sprint at 100% for about 25 to 30 seconds, okay? So that's where this 30-second test comes in. Men 11, men 12, women 11, okay? And then they had another one. One other study suggested that, because I do get clients that say, well, I'm under 60 and the score chart doesn't go any lower than that. What's my goal? So they apparently, she found one article that suggested men under 60 should be able to do at least 17 reps and women 15. So in 30 seconds, you're going like 1.3 reps per second. Is that right? Yeah, something like that. Okay, so that's fast. You know, you gotta turn over quickly. That's pretty good. The hardest part is not cheating and just like touching your butt or not fully standing up. So make sure you're doing it as best you can. They give you a workout on this. I tried clicking on it, but there's a paywall. I don't pay for the New York Times, so I couldn't see the next one. I could the first time, and then when I went back, I got blocked out of it. So I think when someone shares something with you, you can only access it so many times. So in this program, she gets into, and the reason I wanted to show this is she's using 5-pound dumbbells to master a move like snatches and an 18-pound empty barbell for deadlifts. Awesome. I mean, you could not have picked 2 lifts where I would have said, if you want to practice getting strong and powerful and implement velocity training, it would be those lifts. Now, these are technical lifts, okay? I'm not going to give you those on day 1. I might not give you those on day 30. It might be down the road a little bit. I mean, deadlifting, pretty simple. The barbell, really difficult. So, in my opinion, especially for the aging population, we're going to use a kettlebell, usually at height, elevated off the floor, so people can pull from a comfortable height, but I'm going to give you some load. I love it. You're using 18 pounds. And snatches, even with a 5-pound dumbbell, fantastic, okay? Now, that's awesome. Those are 2 rather technical lifts. So what I'm going to give you will be less technical, and you'll still be able to apply it. But this is a very good thing to state in this article. So great job on the author, okay? Before long, she could climb flights of stairs without stopping. When a single flight of stairs once challenged her. A couple of months dragging the dog food. She was struggling there. She picks it up now like a loaf of bread, she says. How about that? My birthday, about 6 months later, I lifted 105 pounds in the gym. So great. How cool is it? A 71, I think they said she was. 71-year-old lifting 105 pounds. Like, thank you. New York Times article. Lauren, what was her name? I'm on 14. I want to come back to 14. Let me give credit to Amanda Loudon. Amanda Loudon, great fucking job. I'm so happy that someone said snatches, deadlift, move fast, 105 pounds, 71-year-old. Thank you, dude. Thank you. Finally. Fuck. How long does it take for us to put something in an article that suggests people to do? Okay. Anyway. Blood pressure. Woosah. It's okay. Rub my earlobes. Jesus Christ. Okay. Let's keep it moving. Underdosing. We have a logo. I don't have it here. I should have put it in here. We have a logo that is sarcopenia. Let me find it on here real quick. End under loading. Stop sarcopenia. That's what we have. Sarcopenia. I should get this tattooed on my body. So here we go. That's it right there. Nailed it. That was a quick search. Okay. Stop sarcopenia and underloading. That right there is one of the key components that I have shared and want people to understand and know what that means and why that's so important. Underdosing, underloading, same idea. This is when you are so much more capable of lifting more than you are, but you don't want to get hurt lifting heavy weights, right? Or I don't want to get bulky. I don't mean to mock that, but I kind of do in a little bit of a way, because that's ridiculous. As we've said, 30, 40-year-old, you're in your prime, right? 30, 40s, whatever, you've been training your whole life, trying to get too bulky and still not there, right? So you 60, 70-year-old males, females, everybody out there, there's no chance you are going to get bulky, too bulky, to where you can't move anymore. I'm just too strong for this. That is not real. That is not possible. If anything, you're going to build some more muscle that you should have, and hopefully have that carry on for the rest of your life, and you won't fall down and get hurt as often as your colleagues, your peers. There's the word I'm looking for, okay? So underdosing, underloading is, I'm capable of curling and pressing 15-pound dumbbells, 12.5-pound dumbbells, but I use the pink 5-pound dumbbells because I don't want to get hurt. That's underloading. In previous videos, I've talked about how when you do that, because you're afraid of getting hurt with the overload, what you're actually exchanging is a higher risk injury rate from over repetition. So instead of, ouch, I hurt my back, I threw out my back trying to pick up this heavy kettlebell that I wasn't quite ready for, but I've been working good progressive overload and I just took too big of a jump, which is a totally normal thing, which is okay if you've ever injured yourself that way. Was it the smartest thing? No. But you've been trying to make yourself better to be a little bit overconfident than not confident at all. We learn from that mistake and we go, okay, I can't take too big of steps. It doesn't mean that this heavy weight hurt me. That's not what that means. It means that you tried to pick up something you weren't ready to pick up yet, okay? Heavy load is not damaging. Heavy load is not going to hurt you. No one's ever looked at a heavy kettlebell and been like, kettlebell, go hurt that guy, and that kettlebell runs over there and clips him in the knee. Like, that doesn't happen. So quit being afraid of the heavy weight, because at some point in life, you're going to need to move that heavy weight. And in some cases, you're the heavy weight, okay? And you need to be able to manipulate your own body so you don't fall down and break your hip or snap your back in half or crack your head on the concrete and concuss yourself, right? So lift heavy load, just do it progressively, do it with good technique, don't take too big of jumps. So on the other side, I'm just going to lift this little weight 1,000 times. And by doing that now, you've worn out your bone, you have osteoarthritis because you've just rubbed away all the cartilage, right? But I didn't get hurt. Well, you did. You just worked yourself into a different kind of injury. So as with everything else in this life, there is a Goldilocks zone right in the middle where this is challenging, this is tough, but it's not too much, right? I've got progressive overload. You're winning if we do that. End underloading. End underdosing. Get some heavy load in your life. Okay, here's how to perform. This is a cool little thing from the CDC, so it's legit. Everybody can see our scores and et cetera, et cetera. On the word go, okay, they start standing, sit down, stand up, yada, 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 30 seconds, you got your number, write your name, write your score, circle it on the thingy, okay, and then put it up on the refrigerator, put it somewhere where you can see it every day. And then we're gonna go train, okay? I'm giving you a very basic little style workout here, very, very basic, right? So I'm just gonna kind of mock these in space here. So our first one, I can still be seen here, I think. Okay, our first one is our sit to stand. You can hold a kettlebell or a dumbbell or whatever weight that you want, hold it at your heart height. We're gonna lean a little bit forward. This is the test, right? Here's my test. Stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down. I do that for 30 seconds. So the first lift is actually the lift that you do to be tested with, but we add overload. So we hold here. So here would be a normal tempo. I come up in 1 second, down in 1 or 2. Up for 1 second, down in 1 or 2 seconds. That would be kind of normal. We call home base. So with velocity training, here's what we want. We are going to lean forward, be heavy on our heels, pushing our knees out. We're gonna come up quick. And then I'm gonna come down for 3, 2, unload, quick. 3, 2, unload, quick. I'm gonna try to come up in 0 seconds, okay? Waddle back over here. 0 seconds. I'm trying to come up in as fast a tempo as I can. What do I want it to be? At least 1/10 of a second faster than I would normally do it, if not more, okay? Now, it doesn't have to be super fast, like as fast as you can where you're falling off balance, or but faster than normal. 1/10 of a second to 2/10 of a second, somewhere in there would be awesome. Because remember, we are going to repeat this enough times. So if you max out, by the 4th rep, you're probably not moving fast anymore. We want you to go a little faster than normal over and over and over again. And this is what will help us with our velocity. So your phases of the lift, the eccentric, me coming down, slow, 2 to 3 seconds, okay, preferably 3. And then the up, the concentric, standing back up there, okay, as quick as I can. We put 0, meaning less than a second, super fast. So you're gonna do that for sit to stands. And then you can go over to the chest press machine where you're pushing, or if you wanna use dumbbells, you could bench press, and it's the same thing, because pretend I'm laying on my back, okay? So I bring the dumbbells down in 3, 2, 1, up quick. 3, 2, 1, up quick, right? As fast as I can. Or on the chest press machine, push away, return all the way back, big pectoral stretch, push away, okay? Then I'm gonna do that with a rack pull. What's a rack pull? It's a basic hinge mechanic. Got my rugby shorts on today. So I'm holding onto a kettlebell or a pair of dumbbells. Hinge, hinge, hinge. 3 seconds, stand up quick. 3, 2, 1, stand up quick. I could have a dumbbell in each hand. I could have a kettlebell in each hand. It's just a little faster. You're pulling with your hamstrings a little faster when you come up. Seated rows. Cable machine, pulling machine. I pull in quick. 3, 2, 1, in quick. 3, 2, 1, in quick, right? Just a tiny bit faster. High pulls. High pull, return down slow. High pull, return down slow. Remember, when you high pull anything, pull apart in the capital T position. No V's. We don't want your elbows high by your ears. We want you level with your clavicle and pull apart on that kettlebell or pull apart with your dumbbells. Try to kind of rip in half, okay? So I'm gonna do 8 of each of those. 8 sit to stands, 8 dumbbell bench press. The 2 means you need a dumbbell in each hand, 2 implements. Bench press, 1 kettlebell, or you could use 2 dumbbells, or you could use a barbell, right? Whatever you wanna use, sandbag, anything like that. For the rack pull, the hinge. And then your seated row cables, ideally, right? A loaded weight stack or a pulley, something like that. And then a high pull with a kettlebell or dumbbells. Barbell as well too, if you want to, okay? Especially if the bar's curved. I like that because it gives your shoulders and your elbows that comfortable angle. So 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, rest a little bit. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, rest a little bit. 12, 12, 12, 12, 12. There's your workout. Pretty simple. Now, what about bicep curls and tricep extensions and all those auxiliary lifts? You can just do normal stuff, okay? Normal stuff with that. 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down, or 2 to 1, or whatever you want. Don't worry about velocity so much when it comes to the smaller joints. I mean, you can do it, but it's not as important. And basically, if we do it in this block, you do the kind of the higher velocity stuff here, then you should be a little bit too tired to do it of any great value on the auxiliary stuff. So on your calf pumps, you know, maybe like some hamstring curls or quad extensions or bicep curls or shoulder raises or tricep extensions, some of the auxiliary lifts are more simplistic, one joint at a time type lifts. You know, lighter load, just regular tempos are just fine. Do I want you like maxing out the quad extension machine as fast as you can, hyperextending your knees? No. Just go easy on that stuff. Lift hard, right? Like give a good load, 8, 10, 12, but you don't have to go super fast. But these are all multi-joint. They're all big full body movements. It's very safe to do these at a good tempo. And how fast? 1 to 2 tenths of a second faster than we normally do. So it's not balls out, ass out, like it's not as fast as you can. That's not what we want. We want you to go faster than you would normally do it. If it normally is 1/1000, right? I want you up in 1/1000. Like it's a little bit faster. It's like, you get it, okay? Just a little bit faster than you would normally move that tempo. And if I practice that on a regular basis, moving that load at that velocity becomes normal. Our progressive overload has now just become load. It's no longer progressive. So something has to change. I either need to try to move it faster than I've been doing, or I need to go up and weight a little bit, okay? There are other options. You could change volumes and change angles, that kind of stuff too, but let's just keep it simple. So I could either try to move faster, which we've already done, or I could go heavier. So let's go a tiny bit heavier. Take those 12.5s, make them 15s, make that 40 pounds on the cable row, 50 pounds, right? And then can I just move it like a tenth of a second faster than I normally would? And we just start to practice from there. So you could be at the gym already doing certain machines and just be like, I'm going to do the same machines. I'm just going to do the concentric phase when the muscle gets shorter. I'm going to do that range a tiny bit faster than I normally do. The leg press, bring it down slow, up or quick. Bring it down slow, up a little quick, right? Just a little bit faster than you normally would. Pull downs from overhead. Pull down quick, bring it up a little slower, pull down quick, right? Those are all machines that you've already been comfortable doing. What about if you do free weights? Same thing. Just remember, use your current weights, same weights you've been using, okay, at this point. Just try to move it a little faster through the concentric phase. That's when the muscle that you're targeting gets shorter. That's the concentric phase, okay? I wish I could just tell you it's always the down or it's always the up. It's different. It depends on the muscle group that you're training. So it's not always the first part of the lift or the first action that occurs. It's not always that. There's a general understanding, okay, that if I can manipulate this load, based on these articles, and I can manipulate this load in that 1 to 2 tenths of a second faster, then my body is now learning this neuromuscular connection from my brain down to the muscles to turn over a little quicker, okay? So when the moment comes now, you step on your own shoelace and you have to like rip your foot out and throw it out in front of you really fast to not fall down, you don't get hurt. You have the power to be able to throw that foot out there, the power to be able to decelerate your falling body and then push it back with stability and balance and coordination, okay, to rescue that fall. In an instant, you think, whew, I almost fell down, I'm good. But you don't really recognize what you just did. That, prior to any kind of training, would be a catastrophic, for a 71-year-old, a catastrophic fall and injury, where they would have broken their wrist, their clavicle, their femoral neck, or acetabular socket into their hip. Those things break. Quality of life changes drastically for the average person. And in many cases, leads to their death, accelerated death. Not trying to be morbid with that, but statistically, over the age of 70, with a catastrophic fall, with a break, a major break like that, stats do not support you living very much longer. Within 6 months, okay, I don't remember the exact number. I've seen multiple studies now, but it's like 50%, if not more. I mean, people over that age, if you fall and have a catastrophic break like that, your will to live is just like, well, now I can't even walk, and that's what I could do. You know, I've lost all my other abilities. I could walk, and now I can't do that, and the will to live kind of stops, right? All of that avoided because you learned how to throw your foot out in front of you faster. So some might hear this and go, well, I'm just going to work on my footwork. That doesn't have anything to do with it. You can't move your leg quick enough to rescue the fall if you can't brace the bones and the structure enough to stop the momentum, because the muscles around it are strong enough to kill that momentum and then push it back. It doesn't matter the footwork. Does that make sense? It doesn't matter the footwork. It doesn't matter the skill of actually throwing the foot into the right position if you don't have the strength and the ability to pull on that muscle and pull on that bone quick enough to get into the right position before you fall down, to stop your center of mass from shifting over the toes, to decelerate, redirect your momentum and push you back into that safe position of balance. If you don't have that, you're falling down. And statistically, we know how detrimental that can be. So simply by taking, 5 exercises like this, or whatever current routine you are doing, and just adding a velocity component to it, okay? A velocity component to it that just changes a tiny bit faster through that concentric phase, we can start to have pretty drastic responses, okay? And these are really good responses. 0.9 to 5.4% increase in bone density. That is excellent for the people that participated in that study. We're doing basic machines, 4 of them, for 6 months. So if you start doing this on the regular, and you start to practice and implement the speed component, this velocity component to your lifts, start to implement the strategies that we have seen in these articles that we've practiced in-house that we're now relaying over to you, You take your power test, do your sit to stands, get your score of 12, let's hope. Ladies 11, guys 12, those are our goals, okay? If you're not there, let's train, train, train. If you are there, let's train, train, train. Train for 8 or 12 weeks, work on this velocity, and then come back and test, and let's see how you're doing. Hopefully, by the time you get back to that, you'll see that number go from, if you're below, to an average, or from average to above average. Because I want you to be the all-star, now I forget it, but I want you to be the all-star, the MVP, the LeBron James, if you will. I want you to be the Michael Jordan. I want you to be the, the premier individual for your bracket and your ability, where all the other folks are going, I want to be like her. I want to be like him. I want to do what they're doing. Because they look like they're 50. They move like they're 50. These are our goals. These are our intentions. All right. Enough from me, 30 minutes. I hope you enjoyed this. I always have the intention of doing this much shorter, but I love this, and I love to talk and share this information. So I hope you don't mind listening. Those of you that make it these far into the videos, thank you. I appreciate you. Appreciate all of you. Liking, subscribing, helping us here. And I wish you all the best in your endeavors here to increase your power via HVRT, high velocity resistance training. Robert Linkul, trainingtheolderadult.com. And until next time, continue to fight your good fight against sarcopenia. We'll see you then.